Hi, I'm Chris the Credit Guy. Thanks for watching this video. If you're watching it on the internet, you can get my complete video series for free on my website at christhecreditguy.com. And as always, I'm available for individual private consultations, and we can arrange that through email at info@christhecreditguy.com. This video I call Who is or What is FICO? In my business, I'm always surprised, and you'd be surprised if you're sitting there and you don't really understand who or what is FICO. Don't feel bad. Most people don't really understand who or what FICO is, and that's why I put this video series together, because I think if you understand who or what a FICO is, or what the company is, it'll help you understand the process that we're going through a little bit better. So to answer the question, who or what is FICO, it takes a little bit of explaining. Well, first of all, FICO stands for Fair Isaac Corporation, so in short, FICO. And what FICO does is they calculate your credit score based on the information that they get from each individual credit bureau. Now, in the previous video, we explained who the credit bureaus were. So where FICO comes into play is that when you get your credit report, if you are getting FICO scores, what FICO does is they basically take the information from TransUnion, use it, run it through their little magic black box, and spit out a credit score. They also get the information that's stored at Experian, and they do the same. They run it through their black box and spit out a credit score. And then they do it from Equifax. Again, through the box, and then out comes a score. Now that's why your credit scores are rarely the same if you get a tri-merge or a service that provides the 3 credit scores. You can see one of my previous videos about how to get your credit score and the advantages and disadvantages to that. And again, I have a link to some of my affiliates where you can get your credit score. But back to explaining FICO. Again, they are the major industry standard, you can call them, score provider. And it's important because FICO is the score, let's say, that is the standard for if you're going to get a home loan, a mortgage. The mortgage broker will pull your FICO scores. Same is usually true for if you're going to get a car or a credit card. They will pull your credit report along with a FICO score. Now, most of the services that provide you with a credit score are actually not providing you with a true FICO score. Now, that's not so important for what we're going through, and I'll tell you why. The scores that you typically will get from the services that are providing your credit reports to you, they're using a different model. But again, they're usually close. Sometimes they're as much as 20, 30 points off. But I tend to lean towards, let's not be pulling tri-merge credit reports that give you a true FICO score until the point where we're pretty sure that, let's say, your credit is restored enough to the point where you can get approved for what it is that you want to get. Let's say if you're restoring your credit to get yourself a mortgage, rather than every month or so pull a tri-merge that does count against you because of the hard inquiry like we talked about earlier, it's better to use a service that maybe doesn't provide your true FICO score but gives a close estimate of that, because you may need to pull it once, twice, 3 times until we've gotten your score to where it needs to be. At that point, you can then go ahead and pull one credit report that counts against you, and hopefully that's the point where where your credit and your score are up to the point where they need to be to get you whatever it is that you're looking to get. So, a little bit more about FICO. Again, they're the major issuer, or again, the industry standard for scoring. But again, there are lots of other scores that could be provided, and they're called credit scores. And again, they're all based on about the same, inputs, and they all tend to be about on the same scale as FICO, which, if you're curious, is 300 to 850. In my years, I've seen, I don't know how many thousands of credit reports. I don't think I've ever seen one higher than about 830 or 825, 830. And they're rare. It's very rare to have a credit score above 800. And then it is very rare to see one below 400. And then don't feel bad if yours is below that, because again, there's only you can only go up from there. But again, most of them tend to fall somewhere in the 5 to 600 range, and then if you have good credit, up in the 700 range. So, but again, no matter where you're starting from, with the ability to change the information that's going into the score, your score can and will improve as we go through this process. So one very helpful fact, and I think I put a note to it on the right here of the page, is that this is just something that I felt was very important to explain to people, because it then allows you to then understand how we go through this credit restoration process. And the quote is, "A credit score, or a FICO score, has no memory. There is no memory that FICO, or any other scoring model for that matter, has of your past credit history. All it does is takes the information that's given to it through or by the credit bureaus, uses its formula, and spits out a number." And again, I think that's very important, because let's just say you have the ability to change the information in your credit file, which you do, and we are going to go through the rest of the video series to show you how to go about doing that. Well, if, let's say, one day your credit report has a collection, to use that as an example, it has a collection at the credit bureau. Well, if and when that gets removed, the scoring model has no memory that it was there either a month ago, yesterday, or even, believe it or not, a second ago. So you can never time it that well. But let's say you pulled your credit report and you have a 500 credit score, and one account that happens to be a collection is what is dragging your score way down. If that gets deleted through what we're going through this process, if you could, which you never could, but if you literally could pull your credit report the next second, and that collection account, which is really negative, is not there, your credit score could be 700 the next minute, and it was only a minute apart. So again, I find that very important to explain to people, because as we go through this process, which part of what we're doing is working on the ability to remove some or all of the negative information from your credit file, the score does not remember, nor does the bureau for that matter. So that's very important, because that's how we get a lot of increases in credit scores, is by helping you to remove the bad or derogatory or negative information, while we go and add information that is positive. All that is part of is a process to, again, make the information that's coming into that magic black box spit out a higher number for you. So I hope that's helpful. Again, that's a bit of information about who or what FICO is and what it stands for. And I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you want the my complete free online credit restoration video series, you can get that by going to christhecreditguy.com.